Have you ever paused in the middle of your day and asked yourself, why do I still feel restless? Why, despite all my achievements, relationships, and comforts, does true peace seem so distant? The world tells us that happiness lies in success, money, or even in the approval of others. But Buddhism offers a different truth, one that has stood the test of time for over 2,500 years. True peace isn't something we find in external circumstances. It's not hidden in the next job promotion, a new relationship, or material possessions. It's something we cultivate from within. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from our attachment to impermanent things. The things we believe will make us happy, but eventually change or fade away. By shifting our mindset and adopting a new way of living, we can unlock a life of deep contentment, clarity, and calmness. Buddhism is not just a religion, it's a way of understanding life, of seeing the world as it truly is. It provides us with a roadmap, a practical guide for how to free ourselves from stress, worry, and the endless pursuit of things that do not bring lasting fulfillment. And today, we'll explore 7 profound Buddhist principles that can transform your daily life, helping you find peace regardless of external situations. But before we dive in, take a moment to reflect. What does peace mean to you? Is it the absence of stress, a quiet mind, a sense of purpose that carries you through the ups and downs of life? Too often, we chase happiness in places where it doesn't truly exist, only to find ourselves exhausted, anxious, or unsatisfied. But imagine if, instead of chasing peace, you could cultivate it from within, nurturing it like a seed that grows into a steady, unwavering force. This is what Buddhist wisdom teaches us. Instead of running after happiness, we learn how to be happy. Instead of fearing loss, we embrace the natural flow of life. Instead of reacting to problems with frustration, we develop inner stability that allows us to face challenges with grace and wisdom. These teachings are not just for monks or scholars. They are for anyone who seeks a calmer, more balanced way of living. You don't have to abandon your daily responsibilities or live in isolation to experience the benefits of Buddhist wisdom. The path to peace is woven into everyday life. How we think, how we speak, how we interact with others, and how we respond to adversity. So, what are these transformative principles? They begin with mindfulness, learning to be fully present in the moment. They encourage non-attachment, understanding that clinging to things, people, or outcomes only leads to suffering. They guide us toward compassion, not just for others, but also for ourselves. They teach us about impermanence, the truth that everything in life is constantly changing. And by embracing this reality, we free ourselves from fear. They remind us to practice gratitude, to see the beauty in what we already have, rather than focusing on what we lack. They help us cultivate right action, living ethically and with integrity, knowing that every action we take shapes our inner world. And most importantly, these teachings invite us to look within, to examine the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we experience life itself. They teach us that we are not powerless, that we are not victims of circumstance. Instead, we are the creators of our inner world, and with the right understanding, we can shape it into a place of deep peace. So, as we begin this journey, ask yourself, what if true happiness was never something you had to chase? What if it was already within you, waiting to be uncovered? By the end of this video, you'll have the answers you've been searching for. You'll understand how these Buddhist principles can help you navigate life's uncertainties with wisdom and ease. And most importantly, you'll walk away with simple, practical steps to start integrating these teachings into your daily life. Because peace isn't something that comes from the outside. It's something we create, moment by moment, choice by choice, thought by thought. And the best part, you don't need to be a monk, a scholar, or a lifelong Buddhist to experience it. You simply need an open heart and the willingness to see life through a new lens. So take a deep breath, let go of distractions, and join me on this journey toward a more peaceful, more mindful, and more fulfilling life. In today's fast-paced world, most of us are rarely present in the moment. Our minds are either stuck in the past, replaying old mistakes and regrets, or racing ahead to the future, filled with worry about things that may never even happen. We live in a constant state of distraction, moving from one thought to another without truly experiencing the richness of life as it unfolds before us. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, when was the last time I truly experienced this moment? Right here, right now. Buddhism teaches that the present moment is the only reality. The past is gone, and the future has not yet arrived. Yet, we let ourselves be consumed by memories and anticipation, missing the life that is happening in front of us. This is where mindfulness, a fundamental Buddhist practice, becomes our path to peace. Mindfulness is not just a technique, it is a way of living. It means being fully present in every experience, whether grand or mundane, without clinging to it or pushing it away. It is the art of paying attention to life as it truly is, in this very moment, without judgment. When the Buddha attained enlightenment, he realized that suffering is caused by attachment to thoughts, emotions, desires, and expectations. He taught that by cultivating awareness of the present, we can liberate ourselves from this suffering. Mindfulness is the gateway to this liberation. It allows us to observe our thoughts and feelings without being controlled by them. Instead of getting lost in anxiety or regret, we learn to simply witness our experience as it is. Imagine starting your day with mindfulness. As you wake up, rather than immediately checking your phone or rushing through your morning routine, you pause. You notice the feeling of your body stretching, the cool air on your skin, the sound of birds outside your window. Instead of letting your mind race ahead to all the things you need to do, you take a deep breath and fully experience this moment. This is mindfulness in practice, paying attention to the present without distraction. Mindfulness is often associated with meditation, and while meditation is a powerful tool, mindfulness is something we can bring into every moment of our lives. Consider a simple act like drinking a cup of tea. How often do we drink tea or coffee while distracted, scrolling through our phones, watching television, or lost in thought? Instead, try to fully experience it. Feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. Notice the aroma. Take a slow sip, truly tasting the flavors. This is mindfulness, immersing yourself fully in whatever you are doing. Now think about eating. Many of us eat quickly, barely tasting our food, or we eat while multitasking, watching videos, talking on the phone, or thinking about work. But in Buddhist practice, mindful eating is a form of meditation. It means slowing down, appreciating each bite, feeling the textures and flavors, and being grateful for the nourishment the food provides. Eating mindfully connects us to the present and transforms a simple meal into a deeply grounding experience. Mindfulness also extends to how we interact with others. When we talk to people, are we truly listening, or are we just waiting for our turn to speak? Often our minds wander while others are talking. We think about what we'll say next. We get distracted by our surroundings, or we react emotionally without fully understanding their words. But true mindfulness in conversation means giving our full attention to the other person. It means listening with presence, without judgment, and without the need to immediately respond. When we listen mindfully, we build deeper connections and cultivate compassion. One of the greatest challenges of modern life is stress. We are constantly bombarded with responsibilities, deadlines, and distractions, leaving us feeling overwhelmed. But mindfulness teaches us that we don't have to be ruled by stress. When we feel tension rising, instead of getting lost in panic, we can pause, take a deep breath, feel the air entering your lungs and releasing slowly. Ground yourself in the moment. This simple act of mindful breathing can bring instant calm and clarity. It reminds us that no matter how chaotic the world seems, peace is always accessible within us. The Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." This is the essence of mindfulness, It teaches us that life is not something to be rushed through or controlled. It is something to be experienced fully, moment by moment. When we embrace mindfulness, we begin to see that happiness is not something we must chase. It is already here, in this breath, in this moment. If you want to start practicing mindfulness today, try this simple exercise. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs. Hold it for a moment. Then exhale gently. Feel the release, the relaxation. Repeat this a few times, simply focusing on your breath. No thoughts of the past, no worries about the future, just this breath, right now. As you go through your day, find small moments to practice mindfulness. When you wash your hands, feel the water running over your skin. When you walk, notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground. When you eat, taste each bite. And when you feel overwhelmed, return to your breath. The beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require extra time or effort. It simply requires awareness. It is a practice available to us in every moment, whether we are working, cooking, spending time with loved ones, or even doing something as simple as breathing. By cultivating mindfulness, we cultivate peace. We step out of the constant mental noise and into a state of clarity and presence. We free ourselves from the suffering of regret and anxiety, and we open our hearts to the beauty of life as it is. So ask yourself, what would my life look like if I were fully present for it? How much joy, peace, and meaning am I missing because my mind is somewhere else? The path to mindfulness is simple, but its impact is profound. It is not about achieving something new, but about uncovering the peace that has been within you all along. It is a journey of coming home to yourself, to this moment, to the life that is unfolding before you. Start now. Take a deep breath. Be here. Be present. Because peace isn't something you find. It's something you create, right here, right now. How many times in life have you felt frustration, disappointment, or even despair simply because things didn't go the way you expected? A delayed flight, an argument with a loved one, a lost job opportunity. These moments of struggle often leave us feeling helpless, as if life is working against us. But why do these situations cause so much suffering? Buddhism teaches that suffering is not caused by external events themselves, but by our attachment to how we believe things should be. We cling to people, relationships, career goals, material possessions, and even our own identity. We expect life to unfold according to our plans, and when it doesn't, we experience pain, stress, and resistance. But what if there was a different way? What if, instead of clinging, we could learn to let go? This is the principle of non-attachment, one of the most profound teachings of Buddhism. It is not about indifference or not caring. It is about experiencing life fully while accepting that everything is temporary. It means loving deeply without trying to possess or control, working hard without being obsessed with the outcome, and embracing life's ever-changing nature without resistance. The Buddha taught that attachment is one of the primary causes of suffering. He described it as grasping at things, believing they will bring us lasting happiness. But everything in life is impermanent. Friendships evolve, careers shift, the body ages, and even our emotions come and go like passing clouds. When we cling to something, we create the illusion that it will last forever. And when it inevitably changes or disappears, we suffer. Think about a time when you held on to something too tightly, perhaps a relationship that was no longer serving you, an expectation that didn't become reality, or a grudge that weighed on your heart. How did it make you feel? Often, attachment doesn't bring us security. It brings fear, the fear of loss, the fear of change, the fear that without this person, achievement, or possession, we will be incomplete. But Buddhism offers a different path, one of freedom through non-attachment. Imagine holding a butterfly in your hand. If you squeeze too tightly, trying to keep it with you forever, you will crush it. But if you hold it gently, allowing it to come and go as it pleases, it may rest in your hand naturally. This is the essence of non-attachment. Not forcing, not possessing, but allowing things to be as they are. Non-attachment doesn't mean withdrawing from life. In fact, it allows us to engage more fully. When we love someone without attachment, we love them for who they truly are, not for who we want them to be. When we work toward a goal without attachment, we find joy in the process rather than being consumed by the result. When we experience emotions without clinging, we let them flow naturally without being controlled by them. Consider how this wisdom applies to daily life. Think of a romantic relationship. Many people believe that true love means holding on to someone tightly, fearing that if they let go even a little, they will lose them. But real love is not about control. It is about trust, freedom, and acceptance. When we release attachment, we allow our relationships to be authentic rather than burdened by expectations. The same applies to our careers. If we define our entire self-worth by success or status, we set ourselves up for suffering. When we lose a job, get rejected, or fail at something, it can feel like we have lost everything. But when we practice non-attachment, we understand that our value is not determined by external achievements. We continue to strive, but we do so with a light heart, knowing that setbacks are part of the natural rhythm of life. This wisdom extends even to our emotions. Often we become attached to our anger, sadness, or frustration, allowing these emotions to define us. But emotions, like waves, rise and fall. Instead of clinging to them, we can observe them with awareness, allowing them to pass without being consumed. One of the most famous Buddhist teachings on non-attachment comes from the parable of the raft. The Buddha tells the story of a man traveling along a river. At one point, he builds a raft across the water. Once he reaches the other side, he has two choices. He can continue carrying the raft on his back, thinking it will always be useful, or he can leave it behind and move forward unburdened. The Buddha teaches that just as the raft was useful in one moment, but unnecessary in another, we must learn to let go of things once they have served their purpose. But how do we apply non-attachment in real life? How do we practice letting go when our instinct is to hold on? One simple but powerful practice is awareness. The next time something doesn't go as planned, whether it's missing an important deadline, losing a relationship, or dealing with unexpected challenges, pause, notice your emotions, observe how your mind wants to resist what is happening. Then ask yourself, what if I simply let go? Not out of weakness, but out of trust. Trust in yourself, trust in life, trust that every change, even the painful ones, carries wisdom. Another practice is mindful detachment. Instead of saying, "This is mine," say, "This is something I experience for now." Instead of saying, "I must have this," say, "If it comes, I will appreciate it. If it leaves, I will accept it." This subtle shift in language rewires the mind to embrace impermanence, rather than fight against it. Meditation is also a profound tool for cultivating non-attachment. When we meditate, we learn to observe thoughts without clinging to them. A thought arises, we acknowledge it, and we let it go. This practice trains us to do the same in daily life, to experience things fully but without grasping. Ultimately, non-attachment is about living lightly. It is about releasing the heavy burdens we place on ourselves, the pressure to be perfect, the need to control others, the endless chase for external validation. It is about trusting the flow of life and embracing the truth that nothing is permanent. But that doesn't mean it isn't beautiful. So the next time life doesn't go as planned, instead of resisting, take a deep breath and remind yourself, let go, let things be, let life unfold as it is meant to. Because sometimes peace comes not from forcing, but from allowing, not from holding on, but from releasing, not from chasing, but from simply being. Every morning when you wake up, you are given a choice. Will you react to the day as it unfolds, allowing external circumstances to dictate your emotions? Or will you take control of your mind, shaping the day with awareness and purpose? Buddhism teaches that our actions and thoughts do not arise randomly. They are guided by intention. The Buddha included right intention, sammasankappa, as the second step in the Noble Eightfold Path, which serves as a guide to living a life free from suffering. Right intention is about aligning our thoughts, words, and actions with wisdom, compassion, and ethical living. It is the conscious choice to move through life with clarity and purpose, rather than being led by impulse, ego, or societal pressures. In our daily lives, many of us operate on autopilot, rushing through the morning routine, checking emails before even getting out of bed, and reacting to stress before we've had a chance to center ourselves. We let the external world set the tone for our day. But what if, instead of reacting, we chose to respond with intention? What if, before checking our phones, before getting lost in distractions, we paused, just for a moment, to set a guiding principle for the day ahead? Right intention is not about controlling every event in our lives. It is about shaping our inner world in a way that allows us to meet life with wisdom and peace. It begins with awareness. When we live without intention, we are easily swayed by external forces, stress, negativity, fear, or impatience. But when we consciously choose our state of mind, we reclaim power over our experiences. Imagine waking up and setting a simple but powerful intention. Today, I will be patient, even when things don't go my way. I will speak kindly, even when I am frustrated. I will approach challenges with curiosity instead of anger. I will listen more than I speak. I will let go of what I cannot control and focus on what I can. By setting an intention, we are not guaranteeing that the day will be perfect. We are not preventing difficulties or avoiding challenges. Instead, we are preparing our mind to meet those challenges with clarity. The Buddha often spoke about the power of thought. Our thoughts shape our reality. If we wake up thinking, "Today is going to be stressful," our mind will look for stress. If we believe, "This is going to be a bad day," our brain will focus on every inconvenience. But when we cultivate right intention, we shift our focus from negativity to conscious awareness. Instead of saying, "I hope today goes well," we say, "No matter what happens today, I will face it with calmness and wisdom." Right intention is deeply connected to compassion and ethical living. The Buddha described 3 primary forms of right intention. 1. The intention of renunciation, nekkhamma sankappa, letting go of cravings and attachments that cause suffering. Instead of chasing material success or external validation, we focus on inner contentment. 2. The intention of goodwill, avyapada sankappa, cultivating loving kindness, even toward those who frustrate or challenge us. This means choosing understanding over anger, patience over frustration, and forgiveness over resentment. 3. The intention of harmlessness, avihimsa sankappa, committing to non-violence in thought, word, and action. It is the practice of avoiding harm, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually, both toward ourselves and others. Right intention is not something that happens by accident. It is a daily practice, a habit we build over time. And the beauty of it is that small changes create massive impact. Try this simple challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone or start your routine, take one deep breath. Then set one intention for the day. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as, "I will be present in each moment today. I will respond with kindness instead of frustration. I will practice gratitude for what I have instead of focusing on what I lack." This small act of intention setting is incredibly powerful. When you start your day with clarity, you will find that your reactions to challenges become softer, your ability to stay mindful improves, and your overall sense of well-being increases. But intention is not just about the morning ritual. It is something we can return to throughout the day. Whenever stress arises, pause and check in with yourself. Am I acting from a place of awareness, or am I reacting on impulse? If you find yourself slipping into frustration or negativity, gently return to your original intention. Take a breath and realign with your purpose. The Buddha compared untrained thoughts to a wild elephant. Left unchecked, they can trample through our minds, causing chaos. But with practice, we can train our minds. Just as an elephant trainer gently guides the animal toward calmness and discipline, right intention is how we train our thoughts to serve us, rather than allowing them to run wild. Consider how right intention can change specific moments in your day. During a stressful commute, instead of growing impatient in traffic, you remind yourself, my intention today is patience. You take a deep breath, relax your grip on the steering wheel, and release the tension. In a difficult conversation, rather than reacting defensively, you remember, I set the intention to listen with an open heart. You pause before speaking, truly hearing the other person's words before responding. At work, when a problem arises, instead of thinking, this is a disaster, you shift your mindset. My intention today is to handle challenges with clarity. You focus on solutions rather than complaints. With time, right intention becomes second nature. It becomes a guiding force that helps us live with more purpose, peace, and integrity. One of the greatest gifts of Buddhist teachings is the understanding that we are not powerless. We are not at the mercy of stress, negativity, or external events. We always have the choice to set a direction for our minds. And when we consistently practice right intention, we find that life becomes less chaotic and more deeply fulfilling. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, what intention will I set for today? How do I want to show up for myself and others? What energy do I want to bring into the world? Remember, you don't have to change everything at once. Start with one small shift each morning. And over time, these small daily intentions will shape a life of mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. A life that is lived not by accident, but by design. Because peace, purpose, and fulfillment do not come from outside of us. They come from within. And it all begins with a single intention. It's easy to be kind when everything in life is going smoothly, when people treat us well, when circumstances align with our expectations, and when we feel safe, happy, and secure. But what happens when life challenges us? When someone wrongs us? When anger or resentment begins to take hold? This is where the true test of our inner peace begins. Buddhism teaches that compassion is not just an occasional act of kindness, it is a way of being, a practice that transforms the way we experience the world. And at the heart of Buddhist compassion is metta, or loving kindness. Metta is more than just goodwill toward those who are kind to us. It is a universal love that extends to all beings, even to those who challenge us, even to those who have caused us pain. It is the conscious decision to cultivate understanding instead of resentment, kindness instead of hostility, and patience instead of reactivity. One of the most powerful metaphors in Buddhism compares holding on to anger to grasping a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. In the end, we are the ones who get burned. Likewise, resentment and hatred do not harm the person we are angry with. They harm us. The Buddha once said, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. And yet, many of us carry this poison within us. When someone insults us, we react with defensiveness. When someone is rude, we take offense. When we feel betrayed, we hold on to resentment. But in doing so, we allow external circumstances to dictate our peace. What if instead we chose a different path? The practice of metta teaches us that true peace is not about waiting for the world to be kind. It is about cultivating kindness within ourselves, regardless of the world. Compassion is not weakness, it is strength. It takes great courage to look beyond someone's harsh words and see the suffering that fuels their anger. It takes wisdom to recognize that those who hurt others are often deeply wounded themselves. Imagine for a moment that someone speaks to you with anger or cruelty. Your instinct might be to react, to defend yourself, to argue, to match their negativity. But pause, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is causing their suffering? What pain are they carrying? And how can I respond in a way that brings peace instead of conflict? This does not mean we allow ourselves to be mistreated. It does not mean we tolerate harmful behavior. Compassion is not about passivity. It is about conscious action. It is choosing to respond with wisdom rather than reacting with impulse. It is setting boundaries with kindness rather than with aggression. It is recognizing that we can stand firm while still holding a heart of understanding. One of the most powerful practices in Buddhism is the Metta Bhavana meditation, a meditation on loving kindness. In this practice, we cultivate compassion step by step, expanding it outward. 1. We begin with ourselves, silently repeating phrases like, "Oh, may I be happy. Oh, may I be healthy. Oh, may I be free from suffering." 2. Next, we extend this love to someone we care about, wishing them happiness, peace, and well-being. 3. Then we extend metta to a neutral person, someone we may not know well, but who is part of our shared human experience. 4. The real challenge comes when we extend this compassion to someone who has hurt us, offering them the same wish for peace, understanding that their suffering is what led them to harm others. 5. Finally, we extend metta to all living beings, recognizing our deep interconnection with everything that exists. At first, this practice may feel difficult. How can we offer kindness to those who have caused us pain? But with time, we begin to understand that compassion is not something we give to others. It is something we cultivate within ourselves. When we practice metta, we are not excusing harmful behavior. We are freeing ourselves from the cycle of suffering. Imagine a world where, instead of reacting with hostility, people responded with patience, where misunderstandings were met with clarity instead of anger, where conflicts were approached with the desire to heal rather than to hurt. This world begins not with others, but with us. The Dalai Lama once said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." Because in truth, compassion benefits the giver just as much as the receiver. The next time someone is rude or unkind to you, try this simple practice. Instead of reacting immediately, pause. Take a deep breath and recognize the space between stimulus and response. Ask yourself, what pain might this person be experiencing? How can I respond in a way that aligns with peace rather than conflict? This doesn't mean you won't feel anger. It doesn't mean you won't experience frustration. But the difference is that you won't be ruled by these emotions. You will see them, acknowledge them, and then choose how you wish to respond. When we embody metta, we become sources of peace in a world of turmoil. We become lights in the darkness, reminding others, through our actions, our presence, and our kindness, that there is another way to live. Compassion is not just about what we feel, it is about what we create. When we cultivate understanding, we break cycles of anger. When we choose patience, we bring calm where there was once conflict. When we respond with kindness, we invite others to do the same. This is how the world changes. One moment of compassion at a time, one act of kindness at a time, one choice toward peace at a time. So as you move forward in your day, ask yourself, how can I bring more compassion into my interactions? How can I extend kindness even in moments of difficulty? How can I choose peace, not just for myself, but for those around me? Because peace isn't just about how we feel. It's about the energy we bring into the world. And the more compassion we cultivate, the more peace we create, not just within ourselves, but within all beings. Close your eyes and recall the happiest moment of your life. Feel the warmth, the joy, the sense of completeness. Now, think of the hardest moment, the sorrow, the loss, the struggle that felt insurmountable. Both have passed, haven't they? Neither joy nor suffering lasted forever. They came and they went, and so did you. You are no longer the same person who once celebrated that moment of bliss or endured that hardship. This is the fundamental truth of impermanence, anicca, a core teaching in Buddhism that reminds us everything in life is transient. The Buddha taught that all conditioned things arise and pass away. Nothing remains unchanged. This is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Because in this truth lies liberation. Why do we suffer? The root of attachment suffering, dukkha, arises when we resist change. We cling to pleasure, wishing it would last forever, and we push away pain, hoping it will never come. Yet, life does not work this way. The seasons change, the body ages, relationships evolve, opportunities appear and disappear, and the more we fight this natural flow, the more suffering we create for ourselves. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. When we grasp onto things, whether it be people, material possessions, or even our own identity, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Why? Because all things are impermanent. The flower that blooms today will wither tomorrow. The wealth that brings security can be lost in an instant. Even the person we see in the mirror is ever-changing. Yet, this realization is not meant to be a source of despair. Instead, it is the key to inner peace. When we accept impermanence, we no longer live in fear of losing what we love or in desperation to hold on to fleeting happiness. We begin to experience life fully, appreciating each moment as it is, without the need to grasp or resist. Embracing change, a path to true freedom. Imagine standing in a river, trying to hold on to the flowing water. No matter how tightly you grasp, the water slips through your fingers. Life is like that river, constantly moving, never still. The more we try to control it, the more exhausted we become. But if we stop resisting, if we simply allow the river to flow, we find peace in its movement. This is the way of the enlightened mind, living in harmony with change rather than against it. Instead of fearing loss, we cherish the present. Instead of clinging to the past, we flow with the present moment. Instead of dreading the future, we trust that whatever comes will also pass. A great Zen master once said, "Let go or be dragged." Holding on to what no longer serves us only causes suffering, but when we let go, we are free. The beauty of the present moment, if nothing lasts forever, then what should we do? The answer is simple. Live fully in the present. Since every moment is fleeting, we must cherish it while it lasts. When we eat, we should truly taste our food. When we speak with loved ones, we should be fully present, listening with an open heart. When we feel happiness, we should embrace it without worrying about when it will end. The Buddha taught mindfulness, sati, as the practice of being fully aware in the present moment. When we are mindful, we experience life deeply and completely. A simple cup of tea becomes a moment of peace. The sound of the wind becomes a song. A quiet breath becomes a reminder that we are alive. Suffering will pass, and so will joy. The next time you face hardship, remember, this moment will pass. No matter how difficult today feels, it is not permanent. Like the storm that comes and goes, like the night that always turns to dawn, this pain is only temporary. Do not let fear consume you. Instead, trust that change is always at work. And when you find yourself in a moment of happiness, fully embrace it. Laugh, love, and be grateful. Because this too will pass. But do not be sad about its passing. Impermanence is not a curse, but a gift. It means that life is always moving, always renewing, always offering new possibilities. A lesson from the Buddha's life. Even the Buddha himself experienced suffering. Before his enlightenment, he lived as Prince Siddhartha, surrounded by luxury and pleasure. Yet, he saw that everything around him was temporary. His youth, his wealth, even the people he loved, all would eventually change. And so, he left the palace in search of truth. Through deep meditation, he realized that suffering comes not from life's changes, but from our resistance to them. By accepting impermanence, he achieved liberation, nirvana, a state beyond attachment and fear. His teachings remind us the only constant in life is change. When we accept this, we find true peace. Tomorrow holds new possibilities no matter what you are going through today. Remember, this is not the end of your story. Life is always in motion. The pain you feel will fade, the burdens you carry will lighten, and the happiness you experience will transform into new moments of joy. Instead of fearing the future, embrace it with an open heart. Trust that whatever comes, you have the strength to face it. Because impermanence does not just mean that things end, it also means that new beginnings are always possible. In our relentless pursuit of happiness, we often overlook the simple blessings already present in our lives. We chase after material success, relationships, and experiences, believing that fulfillment lies somewhere just beyond our reach. Yet the more we grasp, the more happiness seems to slip through our fingers. Buddhism teaches that true happiness is not something to be found in external circumstances. It is something we cultivate within. And one of the most powerful ways to nurture this inner peace is through gratitude. Gratitude is not just an emotion or an attitude. It is a practice, a way of seeing the world that brings clarity, contentment, and freedom from suffering. Why do we suffer? The illusion of lack. The Buddha taught that suffering, dukkha, arises from craving and attachment. When we fixate on what we do not have, we create a sense of lack, a feeling that something is missing from our lives. This mindset fuels discontentment, leading us to believe that happiness exists somewhere outside of ourselves, in the next achievement, the next possession, or the next relationship. But no matter how much we attain, the cycle continues. As soon as we acquire what we once longed for, our minds immediately move to the next desire. This endless grasping keeps us trapped in suffering. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to shift our focus, not toward what is missing, but toward what is already here. Gratitude is the antidote to craving. When we begin to notice the abundance in our lives, we cultivate contentment. We realize that joy is not something we need to chase. It is something we can access right now, in this very moment. The Buddhist practice of gratitude. In Buddhist teachings, gratitude is deeply woven into the path of mindfulness and right understanding. The Buddha encouraged his followers to develop an awareness of the interdependence of all things and to appreciate the countless conditions that support life. Gratitude in Buddhism is not about blind optimism or ignoring life's difficulties. It is about seeing reality clearly, recognizing both the joys and struggles of existence, while appreciating the countless small blessings that sustain us. A simple yet profound practice is to reflect on the following: the kindness of others, the unseen hands that plant the food we eat, the teachers who share their wisdom, the strangers who offer a smile, the gift of the present moment, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of birds in the morning, the quiet stillness of your breath. The lessons within challenges, even suffering, when seen with wisdom, can be a teacher, helping us grow in compassion and resilience. This practice shifts our awareness. Instead of dwelling on what we lack, we begin to notice the abundance already present. Mindfulness and gratitude. Seeing life as it is, gratitude and mindfulness, sati, go hand in hand. When we are mindful, we are fully present. We are no longer lost in worries about the future or regrets about the past. In this state of awareness, we naturally develop appreciation for life as it unfolds. Consider a simple cup of tea. If we drink it absent-mindedly, we may not even taste it. But if we drink it mindfully, we notice its warmth, its aroma, its gentle presence in our hands. Gratitude arises effortlessly when we slow down and truly experience life. The same applies to our relationships. How often do we take the people in our lives for granted? Mindfulness allows us to truly see others, to appreciate their presence and to express our gratitude before it is too late. The Gratitude Challenge, transforming your perspective. Here is a simple yet profound practice. Every night, before you sleep, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Do this for 1 week. They do not have to be grand or extraordinary. Even something as simple as, I am grateful for the food I ate today, or I am grateful for the kindness of a friend, can shift your perspective. At first, it may seem like a small practice, but over time, it rewires the mind. Instead of searching for what is missing, you begin to notice the abundance already present. You realize that happiness is not something you must chase. It is something you cultivate. The story of the grateful monk, a well-known Buddhist story, illustrates the power of gratitude. A young monk once approached his teacher and asked, "Master, how can I find happiness?" The teacher handed him a bowl of rice and said, "Eat this mindfully, and you will find your answer." The monk took a bite, but his mind wandered. He thought about his future, his struggles, and his unfulfilled desires. When he finished, he told the master, "I do not understand. I still feel restless." The teacher smiled and gave him another bowl of rice. "This time," he said, "eat with gratitude. Think of the farmer who grew the rice, the rain that nourished the crops, the countless hands that brought this meal to you." As the young monk ate, he felt something shift within him. For the first time, he truly tasted the rice. He saw the interconnectedness of all things. He realized that in this moment, he lacked nothing. Gratitude had transformed his experience. Gratitude as a path to liberation. In Buddhism, gratitude is not just a practice, it is a path to liberation. When we cultivate gratitude, we loosen the grip of attachment and craving. We find contentment in what is, rather than longing for what is not. Gratitude teaches us impermanence, anicca. We recognize that everything we have is temporary, and this makes us appreciate it even more. We learn to cherish the present moment, to love without attachment, and to accept change with an open heart. It also deepens our compassion. When we acknowledge the kindness we have received, we naturally feel inclined to give back. A grateful heart is a generous heart, and generosity, dana, is one of the highest virtues in Buddhism. The present moment is enough at its core. Gratitude is about realizing that this moment, as it is enough. We do not need to wait for some future event to feel fulfilled. The breath in our lungs, the simple joys of daily life, the opportunity to practice mindfulness, these are all gifts. The Buddha did not promise a life free of suffering, but he did show us a way to live with greater ease, peace, and joy. And gratitude is one of the most powerful tools on this path. So, as you go about your day, pause. Take a deep breath. Look around you. What can you be grateful for right now? Happiness is not something you find. It is something you nurture, and gratitude is the soil in which it grows. The true path to peace, a Buddhist perspective on transformation. As we reach the end of this reflection, let us pause and ask ourselves, what have we truly learned? Peace is not found in avoiding life's difficulties. It is not about escaping challenges, suppressing emotions, or withdrawing from the world. True peace arises in how we respond to the inevitable struggles of life. It is about cultivating a mind that remains steady amidst the storms, a heart that remains open in the face of suffering, and a spirit that embraces change without fear. Buddhism offers us a path to develop this inner resilience. But the teachings of the Buddha are not just abstract concepts. They are practical tools, real, actionable practices that have the power to transform our daily lives. When we begin to apply them, we shift our entire perspective, experiencing life with greater clarity, ease, and fulfillment. The 6 transformative practices of Buddhism. Throughout this journey, we have explored fundamental Buddhist principles that serve as guides on the path to inner peace. Each of these teachings is a stepping stone toward a more awakened way of living. 1. Mindfulness, sati, the art of presence. Mindfulness is the foundation of a peaceful mind. It is the practice of being fully present in each moment, free from distractions of the past or anxieties about the future. When we cultivate mindfulness, we see things as they truly are. We begin to appreciate life's simple joys, engage more deeply in our relationships, and respond to challenges with clarity rather than reactivity. 2. Non-attachment, vairagya, freedom from clinging. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, clinging to what we desire and resisting what we dislike. But everything in life is impermanent, anicca. The more we try to hold on to things, the more suffering we create. Non-attachment does not mean indifference. It means engaging with life fully, yet without grasping. It is loving without possessing, enjoying without fearing loss, and flowing with change rather than resisting it. 3. Right intention, sammasankappa. Aligning with wisdom, our thoughts shape our actions, and our actions shape our lives. Right intention, part of the Noble Eightfold Path, teaches us to cultivate thoughts that are rooted in kindness, compassion, and wisdom, rather than greed, hatred, or delusion. When we align our intentions with truth and virtue, we naturally walk the path of peace. 4. Compassion, karuna, the heart of awakening. True peace is not just about finding calm within ourselves. It is about extending that peace to others. Compassion is the practice of seeing the suffering in the world and responding with love. When we cultivate compassion, we break free from the illusion of separateness and recognize our deep connection with all beings. A compassionate heart does not turn away from pain, it seeks to heal. Acceptance, khanti, the power of surrender. Not everything in life unfolds according to our desires. Pain, loss, disappointment, these are part of the human experience. The more we resist reality, the more suffering we create. But when we practice acceptance, we stop struggling against life's natural flow. We learn to embrace each moment as it is, finding peace not in controlling life, but in surrendering to its wisdom. 6. Gratitude, katanuta, the key to contentment. We often seek happiness in the things we lack, overlooking the abundance already present. Gratitude shifts our focus from scarcity to sufficiency. It teaches us to recognize the countless blessings in our lives, the kindness of others, the breath in our lungs, the simple beauty of existence. A grateful heart is a peaceful heart because it sees life not as something to be fought against, but as a gift to be cherished. Applying these teachings, the path to true transformation. These Buddhist principles are not just ideas to be admired, they are practices to be lived. And when we integrate them into our daily lives, we begin to notice a profound shift. Stress no longer controls us because we have learned to be mindful. Loss no longer devastates us because we have embraced non-attachment. Negative thoughts no longer consume us because we have cultivated right intention. Conflict no longer dominates us because we have chosen compassion. Resistance no longer drains us because we have found strength in acceptance. Restlessness no longer unsettles us because we have discovered gratitude. Transformation does not happen overnight. It is a lifelong journey, but every small step we take toward these practices brings us closer to true peace. A reflection for you. Which teachings spoke to you the most? Now, I invite you to reflect. Which of these Buddhist principles resonated with you the most? Was it mindfulness, the art of being present? Was it non-attachment, the practice of letting go? Was it right intention, the power of directing your thoughts wisely? Was it compassion, the act of opening your heart to others? Was it acceptance, the wisdom of surrendering to life as it is? Was it gratitude, the key to seeing abundance in every moment? Take a moment to reflect. The answers to our deepest questions are often already within us. We only need the stillness to hear them. If this teaching touched your heart, I invite you to share your thoughts. Leave a comment below. Let's create a space of wisdom and connection. And if you believe these teachings can benefit others, help spread this message. Like, share, and subscribe. Because the more we share peace, the more we create it. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be at peace. In closing, I offer you a simple yet powerful Buddhist blessing. May you be happy. May you find joy not in external conditions, but in the stillness of your own heart. May you be healthy. May your body, mind, and spirit be Nur. May you be at peace. May you walk through life with ease, embracing each moment as it comes. The journey toward peace begins within, and each of us, through our own practice, has the power to create a more compassionate, mindful world. So let us walk this path together, with wisdom, with kindness, and with gratitude for this precious life.